who was we don't know quite
Live.
what he was smoking exactly, and
You're live.
hence,
Don't forget.
hence I'm not saying the name, but he was he used to sit. It was constant. It was. You remember there was that. Do you remember there was that sort of a meme before memes went around where it was this kind of cat going like this?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what it was like speaking to him. It was so distracting. Anyway, so that's what you need to do tonight, so that this doesn't collapse. No, other way. Well, one way and then the other way.
No, because I'll hit the microphone and then I'll get annoyed at myself.
Yeah, that's true.
It's fair enough. You just belt it. I don't need to do it as well.
I have made sure it is resting on top of a kettle tonight.
Oh.
And the camera that's not working up there is resting on top of an upturned bin. Because podcasting.
You should Instagram that. And then put podcasters on Instagram and you get a gazillion likes from random podcasters.
Oh, we do. Anyway, it's part of my, I've got an autocorrect set up on Instagram. I just type MP Insta and it puts in a shoot load of hashtags at the end. It's all the same one. There's all sorts of stuff in there. We get loads of podcast likes.
I have been enjoying Sniff Petrol's hashtags.
Yeah, they're good.
On his cars, they are very funny and mocking at the same time as I try, except for the test car, because I'm still teasing it. I do normally put in a couple of things, but not nearly enough. But at least I put in a couple.
Is it all about the engagement?
Well, it's all right. The Twitter stats are going to look fantastic after my Jag White XF Estate curbing thing that got liked well over 200 times and retweeted many, many times. And many responses from people who don't know me and I don't know them. Okay, you've gone again.
You're right.
No, you're back.
I can hear you. And you've gone now. Anyway, I'm glad I paid
I'm
that
still
extra.
here. Am I not here?
Good, yeah.
Because I can see you. I can see you. I can see you.
Totally there. That's good. Brilliant.
Right. Should we get going?
Really fucking frustrating. Oops, I swore. Yes, let's get going because otherwise we're going to kill someone.
Hindenburg.
Yes, right. Ready? In 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, sugar. No,
really?
Don't go.
Really?
Don't go. No tracks are enabled. I'm so sorry.
Oh my God.
Try again. I'm so sorry. I wondered why it wasn't flashing. We ready?
Yes.
Don't even start me tonight. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
I got lines. How about you?
I have lines. I don't know if they're in sync with your lines, but never mind.
Close enough.
It should be close enough, yes. One day I'll get a clapperboard. I'll kitch the clipperboard. We're ready?
Yes.
Good. Welcome to the Motoring Podcast, your weekly discussion of motoring news. This is episode 183 on Tuesday, the 5th of June, 2018. Hello, I'm Alan.
Hello, I'm Andrew. And this week we'll be talking about a spreadsheet. Also, we'll be asking if this FCA plan is any more realistic than the last one, and why there's good news for fans of waffle. But first, we have a smidgen of follow-up. First of all, I'd like to say well done, you and Richard, last week. I thought that was a really good episode, actually. I enjoyed that when I came out of the mid-15th century and hit the 21st century, where there was things like the internet, and I could download the episode and I listened to it and I enjoyed it. It's a good one.
Thank you very much. Yes, thanks, Rich.
Yes. But a bit of follow-up on that. Greg Cable, at Greg Cable, was chatting a little bit about the Hamburg diesel ban coming into force and how well that's gone down. But the Motoring Podcast account aka Alan, was having a little chat with him, and it sounded like it went wonderfully well, perfect, in fact.
It's not going down very. So I'm not going down very well at all because it's not being enforced. It wasn't being enforced very well to start with, and also everybody in the roundabout streets is complaining that they are. They say being treated as second-class citizens because all of the particulars that were being measured are now not being measured because they're all in their streets and not on the streets that the I can't remember what they were now. Was it sub Euro 5
sensors? Pre-Euro 6, isn't it?
Pre-Euro 6, yeah. The pre-Euro 6 diesel vehicles are now not allowed up. So, yeah, not going down very well.
It's the same as when the councils in this country suddenly put double yellows on difficult or suddenly busy roads and things like that. All they do is just push the problem further out. They're not coming up with solutions to deal with the problem. They're just pushing the problem further away. Thank you very much, because that's all we think about.
They do, but remember that book that I keep wittering on about traffic flow that I read about a year and a half, 2 years ago? They pointed out that about a quarter of traffic normally, if it's you're just stopping traffic, then about a quarter of that traffic normally just disappears into the ether. Nobody knows where it goes. If you do narrow a street from, say, 2 lanes to 1, then the actual overall volume of vehicles goes down. But I'm not sure if that's the stage yet. And of course, it was literally just the first morning of this coming into force, and
they did bring it in a bit quick as well, didn't they? When they got the permission, and then it was in fairly quickly for a governmental organization to implement something. Usually, there's months of lead up and people getting ready, and they haven't had that chance to do that. So where it was saying in Greg's tweets, where it was saying that the police didn't have checks for vehicles or anything like that, that's to be honest, in that timescale, that is understandable.
Yeah, I asked how well it had been, if it had been well communicated in Hamburg. He said he didn't really know. He said, of course, it'd been in all the press, but how well it was communicated locally is a different matter. Greg, of course, is a long-time contributor to Autocar, as well as many other motoring news outlets.
Yeah, he's usually the chap that's the first out with the whichever Volkswagen Group vehicle is being raided today news, things like that. So if you don't follow him on Twitter, do so, because he's got a great knowledge, and his ear is close to the ground, as they say. But new news.
He's normally there at the sharp end, one of the first.
Yes,
new news. Absolutely. It is the first week of the month, everyone. So it's time for the new car registrations for May. So queue up your copy of the sign and swinging symbol, and join us as we go through the spreadsheet of fun. Did I oversell that slightly?
No. You're just communicating our excitement.
Just about right. So what are the headline points from the Society of Motor Manufacturers and Traders? And they are that demand grew 3.4% in May year on year, so 3.4 over last year, as the market continues to rebalance following large declines in 2017. Hybrids and plug-ins are up more than a third to take a record 5.8% share. While super minis, SUVs, and soft tops also rise. So there you go. What you really want is a hybrid super mini SUV convertible.
Hybrid Evoque convertible.
That is it. No. Hybrid Ford EcoSport convertible.
Oh, okay.
It's a bit like a Fiesta, so you get huge sales volumes. Perfect.
Okay.
Overall, so far this year, the year to date is down 6.8% because, well, there's uncertainty, impact, there is uncertainty impacting business and fleet buyers.
You were at the SMMT test day the other week.
Yes.
Did they discuss the sale or not sales? I've done it. Oh, I'm so sorry, everybody. It's my fault this time. Because I've been so consciously sitting there thinking, saying to myself, don't say sales, don't say sales, don't say sales. But did they talk about the what they expect this year, and the
not really,
because we're getting the same, it's still the same lines. It is uncertainty, it is pressures on consumer wallets, that sort of stuff. So was that brought up in their opening speech?
Hang on, do you know what I'm doing? Sorry, if you can hear rough showing in the background, is I'm trying to find my copy of one of the little booklets where I did make a bunch of notes. Not really.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I couldn't remember what I'd written. I sat and I was sitting next to Richard Orcutt, and I sat and I studiously took notes. And there's many numbers and it was written because everybody else who I consider is relatively serious and worth paying attention to was sitting there making notes. So I made jokes as well. Not really. Part of the problem is that everybody is pushing out fleet renewals and stuff, and that's one of the things that's happening with fleet and business. It was generally muttered about. Didn't really talk too much about it. There was a talk about the move towards hybrids and plug-ins and pure electric vehicles, and the need for a one-card payment solution across all of them. That having all these different networks with all different cards and all different payment systems was really deterring people quite a lot. So that was one of the things that he said that Mike Hawes said that they were pushing for.
Well, yeah, I mean, because that ties in with your mobility.
Oh well, that's a small part of it.
Article, no, but it's that idea of a one-stop shop type. Don't make me go and speak to 16 different people or companies in their 16 different takes on this and the little quirks and eccentricities they all have. Let me go to one place and say, here is my money. I want to go and get electricity at this place, please. You deal with all the faffing in the background while I pay the amount that I need to pay for this, and I will just recharge. Thank you very much. And let's get on with it.
Yeah, there was lots of that kind of stuff and discussion around that. One of the things pointed out, by the way, was the government's quite loose 2040 target for the end of internal combustion engine only vehicles, depending on how they feel.
Does that not depend on which leak we're listening to this week?
It does. But I reckon that if it was 2040, then by people buying some normal ads, then there's 7 changes of vehicle on average for people between now and when that comes into account. Mm-hmm. And the evolution that can go on in that time is absolutely huge. I think we saw that some of the tweets over the weekend. Sorry, we're slightly off the main story, but I think this is interesting for a given level of interesting. But there was where they were saying, I've now put myself off, where people were saying the difference between Think EV from 8 years ago and the Jaguar I-Pace.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Coming that was from now is absolutely huge. That was Tom Callow.
Yeah, Tom Callow. Yeah.
Who is of course in charge of strategy and PR and stuff for Chargemaster. So he has a certain tie into it, and I don't think I would be amazed if he disagrees with that. But no, and I thought that was a really clear illustration to say, well, that's a third of the time that we've got between now and then.
Yeah, that 2040 is the government don't need to do anything, because by then, with stricter stricter emission regulations and all the rest of it, then
I'm sorry, I need to go get a towel. I'm just
sorry. I was trying not to laugh, but I couldn't help
I know
it.
You were doing really well, and then you made me crack up.
I do believe my colleague has spilled his beer. This has not been a wonderful day for my colleague.
This has been one hell of a day.
I was just saying that.
And you clanked something as well.
I know.
This is why this is the free bottle of water.
Oh, it was water. I thought it was going to be more disastrous than that.
No, this was just water, and it missed the laptop, but it was going to be one of those. I keep putting my arm in it type of apps.
Okay.
We're talking about 2040, weren't we? I think we're just about finished that conversation anyhow.
Yeah, well, I'll cut that at the end of the Tom Callow thing.
Thanks.
Anyway, Alan, let's go through the bestsellers, please.
Yeah, totally. Back on track. Bestsellers. Yes. I was about to give you the percentages, the relative percentages. No, bestsellers. No big surprises in here as a relatively new entrant.
Well, no, actually, stop. Even in SMMT's own press release and website, they are calling these bestsellers rather than registrations.
Oh, yes.
Can we have that?
Why don't you?
I'm not going down on that one. I'm not going down that rabbit hole of, can we be consistent and use the right language, please? No, I'm not doing it. Not tonight.
Okay, good. That's a relief.
Anyway, bestsellers, Alan.
Coming later on. So anyway,
as it's called here incorrectly.
Registrations.
Yes.
So the Audi A3 hasn't been in for a while, and it's now in at number 10, 2,700. A class 8 is just sold 40 more. 60 more registrations. 7 is the minimum 3,505. 6 is the Vauxhall Corsa for fourth in the town. The Golf with 6,362, which leaves us 2,603, and the Fiesta are 6,896, all of which are in roughly the same kind of ballpark.
And that list actually reminds me of something I saw on Motor and Research. Richard Alcock had written an article about SUVs. Whilst they were a massively growing market, there was one segment that was still doing okay, which was the C segment or the family hatch.
Yes.
And that did occur to me then, and I thought, well, of course, we talk about the Golf, the Focus,
the A class, and
the A class or the A3 every week, month. I mean, we do mention those, and you forget because we're told this relentless march of SUVs, but looking out of that list, there are a couple of SUVs in there, but they're mainly cars.
Yeah, mainly cars. There's only, but the other part that you look at there, and you think, well, there's only one saloon there, isn't there? Which is the C class, or vehicle that's mainly a saloon estate, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is mostly that B segment that takes up all of that. The only exception there is C SUV for the Qashqai.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point, that one. I missed that.
Yeah.
Year to date, it's Fiesta, Golf, Qashqai at the top, by the way, with the Fiesta.
Well, the Qashqai has been refreshed not so long ago, hasn't it? So I think that's given it
relatively, but it still pitters along, and it's great. It's and it's of course it's still made in the UK as well, which is good. It's always nice. There you go.
Mm-hmm. Spreadsheet then.
Spreadsheet of doom. It isn't particularly doomy, mostly I think because last May was quite so flaming dire. I think we're still not past the barrage of sort of advanced buying and shifted buying that we saw last year when everything was registered in March.
Yeah.
So the April was grim and the May was a little bit better. But it's such a small change overall. Was it 3% or something?
3.4.
Yeah, it's almost a rounding error, not quite.
It's pretty close to it. But anyway, I'll run through the list of those that did pretty well. So we've got Abarth and Alfa Romeo. Abarth was up 79%. Now, normally we give an award for the most ridiculous percentage change, but that's not it. Don't worry. There is one further down.
I've seen it.
Alfa Romeo's up nearly 32% to 355 units. Chevrolet are back in the groove with a 50% increase as they've got 6 cars registered.
Yeah, this is everyone importing Camaros and stuff.
I know.
It's got silly. They really shouldn't be in there.
Dacia's up 29.76 to 2,516. Good jump for Honda of 12.6% to 3,800. Jaguar is up, which they've had a couple of tougher months, but Jaguar's up 19.7%. So that's from 2,564 up to 3,069. Jeep, impressively, 115.18% increase. So that's 652 units.
Yeah, it must have been a fleet buy.
Land Rover is up again as well. Like Jaguar, they've had a couple of tougher months, but they're up nearly 17%. So that's up to 6,566 units. Lexus up 19%. And winner of the most ridiculous percentage change goes to Lotus with 900%. So they have jumped from 2 to 20. Can you explain this, Alan?
I think that it's when they batch build right-hand drive, left-hand.
Plus, they have another special edition, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, McLaren up 37%. MG, I'm so sorry, MG. You didn't win the most ridiculous percentage change this time. You were only 105.32%. So that's 811. Mitsubishi up 22.59% to 1,400 units. Porsche up 55%. Renault up 15%. Seat up 46%. So that's good news for Seat. Subaru up 49%, which they've needed to go up a bit, actually. Suzuki up 14.5%. I presume that's the new Swift really kicking in now. Volkswagen up 15.6% to 18,097 units. And Volvo again up. I think the last couple of months they weren't great. Definitely last month they weren't. But that's up 13.72% to 3,621.
Yeah, and I was trying. I don't know. Just sorry, it's going to be an editing nightmare for you because we keep talking over each other because of this connection. But one of the things is that most of the reds this month, which is very short. I mean, Andrew has read through practically the whole list because he left the boundary nice and wide this month. People like Aston, Bentley, and Maserati, the people that sort of tend to import in batch, have not done so well year on year, particularly those more expensive ones. So people super pre-bought last time around last year. DS, Fiat, Infinity, not great. Drop of 80% for it. Don't have any new models to keep people buying. No. Similarly, DS, well, there's the DS7 Crossback, but that's kind of about it.
But that's only just come out, though.
And Fiat, we're going to talk a bit more about them later. Well, exactly. Nissan down 18%, though, and Smart down 31%. So they're
but Smart went on a run of ridiculous numbers considering for quite a while, I thought. So I'm not surprised there's a bit of leveling out of that.
Okay, and again, not really many new vehicles in the last while. Not even sort of special editions and stuff.
No.
Shall we move on then?
Yes, let's move on. And this is a bit of a surprise this week, actually. The CEO of Lotus, Jean-Marc Gale, is it Gale?
I don't know. I don't know if it's Gale or Gale because he's
okay. Well, the chap that was the CEO has left Lotus now. He's going off to thump classic cars into shape and put overalls on. And no, he's not.
That's a pretty harsh description of what JD Classics do.
He's going to run JD Classics. So, because when I heard, he's going off to work on a classic car for a classic car company, I thought, oh, right, so he's going to get oil. He's fed up of sitting in big boardrooms. He wants to get oil under his fingernails and all this sort of stuff. But no, that's not the case. He said that it was time to move on, according to this exclusive article from Autocar by Steve Cropley. And it's personal reasons. And it was a sad day. A very emotional day. And he's handing over to, now, again, consistency in an article. I don't know whether the person who is taking over is actually called Fen Qing Feng or Qin Feng Feng, because it's written both ways.
Both ways, isn't it?
So,
anyway, so
I do apologize to the new CEO of Lotus for butchering your name, but I am not sure which is the right way.
It says Feng Qing Feng more often than it says it the other way around.
Yeah. So,
please, Ash, can you help us?
Yes, because he came on board, didn't he, from Geely when they bought their just over 50% stake or whatever.
He did, and he's got a great reputation for this. Jean-Marc Gale isn't completely leaving, by the way. He's just handing over the chairmanship. He is. I have lost what his title is. I had it a minute ago before I scrolled back there. He is going to continue to be sort of to guide and be a sort of strategy help for the next little while. I'm so sorry. I did have his post sitting in front of me, and then
he's done a hell of a job, to be fair to him, taking over the mess that was left by the fantasist, to then get them to the point where they were profitable is probably a strong word, but not hemorrhaging money, and to the point where they, because he had to come in, pretty much immediately had to cut the workforce, but that's increased now, and it's back up to about 1,000. And they've got realistic plans for a few new models, which will help move them forward. So I think he should be congratulated for the work he has done at Lotus. Actually, I think he's done a cracking job there.
Oh yeah, he has, and he's got loads of respect as well across the industry. But maybe he just decided it was time. So obviously it's planned. It's nice that he's going straight on, and also that he's going to be around for a bit to do a bit of a handover. So it isn't that. It's rather good.
But that's not the only CEO to disappear.
No. Well, this one's from a week and a bit ago, really, isn't it? Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, it's Smart CEO Annette Winkler is resigning, and she will no longer be in charge of Smart from the 1st of October. But she's going to stay connected in the Mercedes family, because I think she, according to this Autocar article, she's still going to be a board member for Mercedes South Africa. She joined the company in '95, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Marketing.
Yeah, as head of PR and communications. I mean, I said it every month. I go, who keeps buying all these smart cars, but it was obviously doing the right job, and they're going to go all electric, which makes total sense for that size of vehicle.
Well, if you've ever experienced the smart sequential gearboxes, which they've insisted on almost always using, then you'd understand why electric's a good idea. Living awful.
Okay, then, Alan, the mega news of the week.
Mega news of the week. Yeah, I missed most of it thanks to working. But it's the big unveiling of the next. Unveiling of the next Fiat Chrysler 5-year plan by His Marshioniness himself.
His last one, isn't it?
His last. Oh dear, what a shame. Yes, his last, and I don't know. The trouble was that the last 5-year plan that they unveiled was big, and it said great things. They were going to do wonderful stuff with Alfa Romeo and Chrysler and Dodge, and it was going to be brilliant, and Jeep, and it was going to be wonderful. There could be all these new models, and what we've had is we've had an SUV, and we've had a saloon and SUV on the same platform, and we've now got a whole bunch of stuff. Cancelled in the States for not making money, and we've got some pickup trucks and some Jeep, but Jeep haven't really changed much. There's a new Wrangler. I think that's about the most we can say there. And so, frankly, the last 5-year plan, they've delivered practically nothing of it, because all it is a 5-year plan. Here's what we're going to do, assuming this, that, the next thing. It's the same with any strategy that goes. So once again, Mr. Marshoni has and occasionally shot a bit high underneath, and he's done basically the same thing. He stood up, and there's got all these nice PowerPoint slides, and there's like some sort of renders of some lumpy bits, which might be new Alfa Romeos. And really, if you go through this and you look at some of this, and you think there isn't much. So when you look at the main bits that bring in money, hang on. When you calculate the main bits that are money, okay, we're at 2018. He's looking at 2022. There's lots of stuff about electrification coming in there, but most of the things that are in the next bit, here's what's coming in the E segment, for example, from Maserati. And sure, there's a Levante, and there's a new one, and then there's the same old stuff facelifted. So the Ghibli's going to get a facelift this year, and then it's going to get a facelift towards the end of 2022. There's going to be new quattroportes and stuff, and that's all they're saying. And a new EV, but it's just a version of what they've already got. And it's the same right the way through. When you actually look at it, very often for most of them, there's like the row at the bottom of specialty things, and there's something funky. There's a new electric sports car or something like that, which is there to distract you from the fact that, sure, there's lots of pictures on the left-hand side of the slide, and there's some stuff under covers on the right-hand side of the slide. And if you go to, again, the Autocar article that will be linked in the show notes, you'll see what I mean. But then lots of it is just the same thing, but then with facelifts. There's not really anything new.
Or of course, hybrid engine.
Or a hybrid engine. It's that kind of thing. Or, oh, here's the same thing, but with a third row. It's that kind of stuff that's in here, apart from the one thing at the bottom, which is what he was attracting people to and trying to do a little bit of a musk in there. Alpha range is going to be cut. There's going to be thousands of new Jeeps, with merely hundreds of new Alphas. And I don't care. It's all the same old guff that came out 5 years ago. Nothing happened to it then. I'll bet money nothing is going to happen to it this time. And frankly, even talking about it is a waste of hot air.
Yeah, I was watching quite a large proportion of, because it ran the whole day, but I saw quite a lot of this coming out on Twitter in real time. And my incredulity button was pressed quite heavily on a lot of the stuff that was talked about, particularly the technology side of things. And I thought, no, take a step back, read the stuff later and see, actually, is there any meat to this? And it's as you said, there isn't. This is just, it's fluff.
The Alfa Romeo slide is a cracker, and it's It's if you want to see just the alpha slide, then there's a Top Gear article by Paul Horrell, which is on there, and there's talk there because 2018 got 46% market coverage with the Mito, the Gilletta, the Giulia, the Stelvio, the 4C Spider, and the 4C Coupe. That's 46% market coverage, supposedly. By 2022, they're going to have jumped to 71% market coverage. And they're going to do this, not having a Mito anymore, by facelifting the Gilletta, by bringing out a new C
that's already
class,
ancient,
which is already. I mean, sorry, Gilletta owners who listen, and I'm not name checking because they tell us off for name checking them to make sure they're listening. They're going to have a popped up Gilletta as a C SUV, which I'm sure is just, you resurface a Jeep Renegade and you've got that, don't you? Jeep Cherokee, pardon me. The Giulia and the Stelvio. The Giulia is going to get a facelift and a slightly longer wheelbase version as well. The Stelvio is going to get facelifted and a slightly longer wheelbase version as well. Makes sense because they're on the same platform. There's going to be a new E-size utility vehicle. And instead of the 4C Spider and the 4C Coupe, they're going to have a GTV and a new 8C, which of course is the bit in that bottom right-hand corner where everyone is looking and saying, yeah, sometime in the future we'll have a new front engine sort of sports car.
And it'll have all the horsepowers.
Have 800 horsepower or something ridiculous. It's like, yeah, right, okay, another one of these. I'm sorry, I don't believe it. I'll be amazed if it happens. There you go. That's my sum of all of the stuff and all of the hot air that's gone on around that entire day by FCA is there.
They talk about this electrification and what if I was an investor in this company and I heard, oh yeah, 2022 we're going to start getting like the Fiat 500 is going to have an electrified version in 2020.
They had one 4 years ago.
And I'm sitting and I'm thinking, what have you been doing since it became very clear that electrification was required? What the hell have you been doing as a business that you do not have this ready to come out in the next year?
You've been dismissing it publicly that electrification is not something that you're going to be doing before suddenly having a big presentation saying we're going to be doing electrification everywhere. That means you're wrong. That really means that you were fundamentally wrong. And I think the sooner that Marchionne's out, the better. I think he's a clown. I really do. I deal with big companies, strategies, all sorts of stuff like this. And frankly, I think it's just a cluster.
I can say that despite themselves, they still make some money.
I know, it's incredible. It's because
that's the conclusion I've come to with FCA. Despite senior management, they actually managed to make some money, which is gobsmacking. Because I don't know how they think Jeep is going to do well in Europe. But there we go. Anyway, let's move on before we get too depressed or perhaps too angry. Oh, one last thing I wanted to talk about though about that. Their discussion of the autonomous levels.
They added a new one. Did you see that? 2+.
2+.
Oh, clear off.
That is exactly the sort of problem we have been banging on about and saying, everyone stop doing this because this is confusing everybody. It's making things worse. People will get killed because they believe the car can do something it can't, because you as manufacturers cannot communicate what it does out sufficiently well.
That's classic consultant Big Five. It's like, oh yeah, something else. We want to make it special. We're not that yet. Oh, we'll just make a new level.
But this is 28. This is in the next couple of years or year. They reckon they're going to have level 2, level 2+, and level 3. Brilliant, wonderful.
Agree.
Look forward to seeing you in court with when people are killed because you've implemented level 3 and you shouldn't have done.
It's all rubbish.
Yeah, but do go, as Alan mentioned, do go read the Top Gear article because Paul Horrell doesn't pull any punches on what he thinks of the Alpha plan either.
No. There's one on that one, I think.
Anyway, should we take a breath?
I need to, yes.
Happier things.
It's that point in the show, of course, where we ask if you think that what we do is worth a penny or two. which is a brave and dangerous question, I'll admit. But some of you do, and some more of you do this week than did last week, which is awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, to the multiplicity of you who have pledged over the course of the last week. It's absolutely brilliant. Patreon, of course, is a way that you can donate a small amount of your hard-earned cash every month to help support us and support our costs and let us do cool stuff so that we can bring you better content, which is the aim of the game, really. If you're interested in doing that, if you'd like to find out what it's all about, then please head to motoringpodcast.com and click the orange Become a Patron button on the front page. Obviously, if you are already a patron, then you're the best people in the world. So thank you so very, very much. We understand, of course, that not everyone has the ability to do this. If you can't, then please do tell a friend about the Motoring Podcast. Tell a friend about the Motoring Podcast. Like, subscribe, leave a comment anywhere that you can. And, of course, encourage your mates to do the same as well if they enjoy what we do. Loads of ways to subscribe to the shows, both here and at Rearview. I added another one the other day, by the way, the AHA streaming service. AHA streaming
That's
service.
Not just for 80s pop music, is it?
No, not for 80s pop music, not just for Alan Partridge, which comes in many new Toyotas. Then we are now listed on there as well.
Is there a correlation, Alan?
A correlation. I should try this on my streaming thing. I can't find my own content. This sucks. I'm going to send them an email and ask them to add our RSS feeds, which they did within 48 hours. So, yes, you can now get us on the AHA streaming service, as well, of course, as iTunes. And if you so desire, via our website at motoringpodcast.com. Although, of course, subscribing via a podcast player is the best and easiest way.
Yeah, if you're on mobile, it's Apple. If you're on an Apple phone or the iPad, it's Apple Podcasts, not iTunes.
Yes, it is. Yes. Well, there's a video.
There's a separate app on iOS. That's all.
Which is coming to Apple Watch as well.
Yes, I believe
so. Yes, that links very nicely, Andrew. Well done. Into the next story. That was way more professional than I ever managed. Because Apple CarPlay, which is a fantastic way to, if you have Apple devices, to listen to podcasts via your car stereo through the podcast app, or even Overcast and
Pocket Cast, I think works.
Probably as well.
I think Pocket Cast works as well.
I thought I worked that. One of the announcements at wayfinding applications means Google Maps, and it also means Waze for those of you who prefer that over either of the other two for its super wayfinding and problem solving routing.
Do you think that will lead OEMs to stop putting in sat navs?
Oh, I do hope so. I do genuinely hope so.
Are there any really dreadful ones out at the minute? I mean, I know I had a bit of a learning curve with the Toyota one, but once I knew the way it needed the input, it was fine.
It's not truly dreadful. The actual sat-nav bit of that's fine. It's the audio bit is rubbish. I quite like the sat-nav lady in the Toyota one. They're just none of them are particularly great, are they? Really?
I don't think they do. I don't think they do a particularly bad job at the moment. But
it's whenever you start going slightly beyond that, the actual nav is fine. But then you've got to But then on many of them, you have to pay for updates. The manufacturer has to provide those updates as well, make them available, and make them buyable. Which, to be honest, has been much easier since it's been possible to download them, download the file over the internet and then plug it in, which I know that you're going to shake your head at and frown at and all the usual stuff that you do.
No, but that is one of the benefits of over-the-air updates, is meant to be that these things can happen much easier, much quicker.
It's not quite over the air that you have to log in, you have to then download the file, which is specific to your unit and then put it in.
Yeah,
so there are protections in there. But yeah, it is. I don't know. Maybe I don't use enough of them. But it's what's most annoying is if you get one that's slightly out of date.
I'd rather they spent the money that they're obviously investing in this, and as you say, the maintenance of it into other things. Because through Android, well, I suppose it depends on how many people do not have a smartphone.
It's a pretty small number nowadays.
But there still will be people who don't.
Tough. Sorry. What else do you want me to say? What else do you want me to say? Well, then pay extra for it, but don't give me CarPlay as standard, but not the sat-nav. So I drive a car. I was sitting writing a thing today. And it was a car that I got a piece of paper in front of me, which came with Navigation Plus pack.
What's his Navigation Plus?
The Navigation Plus pack. It's £2,000, Andrew.
And what do you get with that?
The trouble with this is you get practically nothing which you don't already get automatically from your smartphone. Apple. I don't want an armrest either. The armrest gets in the way. It's horrible. But yeah, it's £2,000, and it's like, why do I want any of that stuff other than the CarPlay? And I'm sure I can get CarPlay for. I think you still have to pay for it because it's a BMW. Oops. It's you still have to pay for it in one of those. It's just £100. Here. Hello.
Yep, you're coming back now. Can you hear me? No, you're breaking up still. I mean, at least I can hear that you're making some noise.
Yes.
You can hear me.
Yeah.
Okay.
How are we doing? Good.
Right.
You
okay,
ready
that's
to talk
good.
about the next story?
Yep. Okay, I can hear you now. Right. Okay, so moving on, and the sad news, I think, that Matt LeBlanc is going to leave Top Gear after the next series.
Yes.
Because I thought they'd almost found the mojo, and they would almost found a nice rhythm, and they all seem to get on quite well.
Mm-hmm.
And they all clearly love cars, and they've all got strengths, particular strengths and all the rest of it. But I thought it improved. Last series I thought was great.
I think just about everyone did, yeah. Apart from people who just habitually complain about cars.
Well, yeah, I mean, you've got the keyboard warriors who want to just moan about stuff anyway. Hi, I'm here all week. But in this instance, it wasn't me.
This isn't one of your complaints. You are, but not this one.
No. But obviously, this has prompted nearly all of the internet to suggest someone or themselves to replace.
Yes, almost every YouTuber and every car-related YouTuber is there going me. Much like they did the last time this happened. But no, it's great shame.
Which it won't be. It won't be. They'll want a name.
They will, and as long as they choose the right name the right way, then that would be.
I think they've possibly learnt from 2 series ago that there is a wrong way to do it.
Yes, not everyone is the right person, and that's fine, and that's great as long as they have learned, and I strongly suspect they have.
Yes,
then
because that will have cost them a lot of money. There's no lunchtime read this week, I'm afraid, everybody, because the lunchtime read, thanks to revised privacy rules in Europe, is unopenable in the UK all of a sudden, because the drive will not strip out all what must be all the tracking and following and little pixels that see what you do and all the rest of it. They won't strip that out, so we don't get the drive in the UK anymore.
I have it here, and I have it here in Italy.
It won't open for me. On different browsers, it won't open.
Okay, well, if you can get to it, then it's an honest glossary of terms related to self-driving mobility, Tesla, and more by Alex Roy.
And
it
is
really
brilliant.
Good. It
is. There is a little bit of tongue in cheek, but I think he's actually making many, many very good points.
Yes, there's some crackers in there.
So let's move on to the list of the week that you found, Alan.
Yeah. So list of the week. This week. There we are. Sorry, I opened stuff twice. This week is by John Redford on motoring research, and it is the 20 most Instagrammed car brands. And there were many surprises in here for me. Many surprises.
Surprises in position?
Yes, and what's included, of course. The research, by the way, comes from a vehicle supplier called OSV, who obviously wanted a really good press release that people would recognize and see their name, and I've done it for them. Some of these like a strong fan base and scene around them, right around the world.
Yeah.
And some of the ones that are further up, you think, well, okay, they're available everywhere. So, Honda, for example, is particularly high, and it's it's BMW, 29.26 million. But again, lots of people have 3 Series and stuff, and you see lots of tuned ones, which means that they're more likely to get hashtagged, and there's a whole scene right around the world.
Yes,
in there. So yes. So if you go to hashtag motoring research and hashtag list of the week, it also tells you which is the most popular one. So amazingly, the hashtag for McLaren is hashtag McLaren.
Right, and finally,
in fact, I'm trying to work out one where it isn't just the name. Hang on a minute. Ferrari is at the number 6, by the way. I must stop doing that. No more silly Italian voices.
No. Otherwise, you may wake up with a horse's head.
My bed. Yeah.
Right, and finally, I teased earlier on that the lovers of waffle can rejoice once more because Petrol Blog is coming back. Gavin has put out an article. Amazingly, he wasn't List of the Week this time. Has put out a post to say, really sorry, it's a bit late, but it is coming. So please bear with. So go and have a click of the link in the show notes. Have a read. And I'm not sure, but you may be in time to get a free car sticker. I'm not sure.
I've got one.
I've got one too. So I was very happy about that. Click through and then see how to claim your free Petrol Blog sticker. So this is great news because I think most of the people who listen to this podcast will have read and enjoyed Petrol Blog. I get the feeling that that's probably happened, or you've read, if you've seen the list of the week, then you've got a flavour of how Gavin writes. So this is brilliant news that Petrol Blog is back because it is a cheery corner
Petrol Blog
in the internet.
Yeah, and if you .com know it, so I have a little bit of a read. Loads of people we know who did to it over the years, but not the point. Is it like 3 episodes or something? Yeah, it was really
on SoundCloud.
It's really good.
Yep.
If you can find it, have a little listen. So that rounds up for the week. Rather Andrew than me editing it this week because the connection has been shocking, and I'm so sorry to anybody who's been on the live stream. You'll see us flick in and out like mad and go hello. Very fun. Maybe use naughty words, get that kind of stuff sorted. Should be a review this week, just for the parish notes. All things going well tomorrow, when Andrew is recording it with a very special guest. No, genuinely a very special guest.
They're all very special.
They're all non-stop very special guests.
Yes.
And apologies for relative radio silence at the end of last week and stuff, or for much of last week. Just work was right up. So I'm sorry about that. In there. Anyway, let's round off. Don't forget, folks, that between now and next week, you can give us any feedback, share your thoughts with the show at Motoring Podcast on Twitter and Instagram, on Facebook, and on the contact page of motoringpodcast.com, which is the hub of all our activities. Please don't forget about Patreon, where you can get motoringpodcast.com. And if you go to motoringpodcast.com/support, you can find all the different ways that you can support us. Don't forget to leave a rating and review on iTunes or however your podcast app lets you do such a thing. It really does matter. It's always nice to log in and find us top 10. It's great. And one of the reasons we get there is partly because you guys listen to this show almost all the way through, even to this bit. And also you leave ratings and reviews, and we've got lots of communication and feedback from you chaps and that chapesses, which is just great. Anyway, Andrew, and now that you are back in the 20th century, if not in the 21st century, what's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
Best way to get in touch with me is via Twitter. If you search for Crack Windscreen even, you will find me there. I'm also that on Instagram, where I have been persuaded to post pictures of a test car within the same 6 months of me having the test car, which has pleased Alan immensely.
It drives me nuts when he doesn't, yes.
So feel free to follow me there. And Alan, if people want to get in touch with you personally, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yes, my old abuse is welcomed at AJP Bradley, BRADLUI, on Twitter, and also at Motoring Podcast, of course, on Twitter and Instagram. We'll be back next week, hopefully somewhere with a better internet connection. But until then, I've been Alan Bradley.
I've been Andrew Clews.
And safe motoring. There we go. Viewer, wherever. It's that camera tonight, isn't it? Thank you so much for suffering right the way through that flickering connection. Much appreciated.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.